You have a stranger living inside you, someone you've never met, someone you've spent your entire life running from. And that stranger, they're running your life, making your decisions, sabotaging your relationships, controlling your reactions, and you have no idea. Carl Jung called this stranger the shadow, and he believed that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And here's the part no one tells you. The more you try to be a good person, the more power this stranger gains. Because every time you suppress something, every time you hide a part of yourself to be accepted, you're not erasing it. You're feeding the shadow, and it's getting stronger. So if you've ever had an irrational hatred for someone you barely know, if you've ever blown up over something small, if you've ever felt like there's a version of yourself you're constantly trying to hide, this is for you. Because your shadow isn't your enemy, it's the most powerful part of you. And once you learn to see it, integrate it, and work with it, everything changes. Let's start with what the shadow actually is, because most people get this wrong. In Jungian psychology, the shadow is everything about yourself that you've hidden, denied, or repressed. It's the part of you that doesn't fit the image you want to project, the part that feels unacceptable, the part you were told was bad, wrong, too much, or not enough. And here's the twist that changes everything. The shadow isn't just your darkness. It's not just your anger, your jealousy, your selfishness, or your cruelty. It's also your light, your ambition, your creativity, your power, your confidence, your sexuality, your joy. Anything you were shamed for, anything you were punished for, anything you learned to suppress to be loved, accepted, or safe, that went into the shadow. And now it lives in the basement of your psyche, locked away but very much alive, and it's running scripts you don't even know exist. Jung explored how the shadow is the person you would rather not be. But here's the paradox. The more you deny it, the stronger it becomes. The more you reject it, the more it controls you. Because what you resist doesn't disappear. It just operates outside your awareness, in the dark, where you can't see it, where you can't manage it. Let me show you how this works. Let's say you grew up in a home where anger was forbidden, where expressing frustration got you punished, ignored, or shamed. So you learned to smile, to be agreeable, to suppress your anger. And now, as an adult, you pride yourself on being calm, rational, never losing your temper. But your anger didn't go away. It went into the shadow. And now it leaks out in passive aggression, resentment, silent treatments, and sudden explosive outbursts that shock even you. Because you're not in control of your anger. Your shadow is. And as long as it stays unconscious, it runs the show. Or maybe you grew up being told that ambition was selfish, that standing out was arrogant, that wanting success made you shallow. So you learned to play small, to downplay your abilities, to apologize for your achievements. And now you tell yourself you're humble, you're grounded, you don't care about status. But your ambition didn't die, it went into the shadow, and now it shows up as secret envy when someone else succeeds, as bitterness when you're overlooked, as a gnawing sense that you're capable of more but too afraid to try, because you've disowned your ambition, and disowned parts don't disappear, they sabotage. This is the shadow, not evil, not bad, just unintegrated, and until you bring it into the light, it will control you from the dark. Now here's where it gets visceral, because the shadow doesn't just hide inside you, it projects outward, onto other people. And this is one of the most powerful psychological mechanisms Jung ever identified. Projection means you see in others what you can't see in yourself. You notice in them the qualities you've repressed, and you react strongly, irrationally, emotionally, because you're not really reacting to them. You're reacting to your own shadow staring back at you. Jung explored how everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. And this is exactly what he meant. That person who annoys you for no logical reason, that's your shadow talking. That colleague you irrationally dislike, that's projection. That stranger on social media who makes your blood boil, mirror. Let me give you a real example. Let's say you've spent your whole life being the responsible one, the person everyone can count on, the one who never makes a mess, never asks for help, never lets anyone down. And then you meet someone who's carefree, spontaneous, a little chaotic, and you hate them, you judge them, you think they're irresponsible, immature, reckless. But here's the truth, you're not angry at them. You're angry at the part of yourself you had to kill to be the responsible one, the part that wanted to be spontaneous, the part that wanted to mess up and still be loved, the part that wanted freedom, and seeing it in someone else reminds you of what you sacrificed, so you judge them to keep your shadow buried. Or maybe you pride yourself on being logical, rational, unemotional. You've built your entire identity on being the person who doesn't get swept away by feelings, and then you meet someone who's deeply emotional, who cries easily, who expresses everything, and you find them exhausting, weak, too much. But again, you're not reacting to them. You're reacting to your own repressed emotions, the feelings you were taught to suppress, the vulnerability you've spent years avoiding, and their emotional freedom triggers the part of you that's locked away, so you criticize them to avoid facing yourself. This is shadow projection, and it's happening constantly, in your relationships, at work, online, everywhere. And here's the tell: the stronger your reaction, the deeper the shadow. Because calm observation doesn't come from projection. Rage does, disgust does, obsessive judgment does. If someone's behavior bothers you a little, that's just preference. But if it enrages you, if it consumes you, if you can't stop thinking about it, that's your shadow. That's the part of yourself you refuse to see. And until you turn inward and ask, what am I seeing in them that I've disowned in myself? You'll stay stuck in the projection, and the shadow will keep running your life. Now let's talk about something most people never hear about, the golden shadow. Because the shadow isn't just darkness, it's also light. And for many people, their greatest struggle isn't integrating their anger or their selfishness, it's integrating their power. The golden shadow is all the positive qualities you've repressed: your confidence, your ambition, your creativity, your leadership, your sexuality, your brilliance, your voice. These aren't bad things, but if you were shamed for them, if you were punished for shining, if you learned that being powerful made you a target, you pushed them into the shadow too. And now you admire these qualities in others. You're drawn to confident people. You idolize creative people. You're attracted to people who own their power. But you tell yourself you could never be like that. That's not who you are. You're the quiet one, the supporter, the background player. But that's not true. That's just the story you told yourself to stay safe. And your golden shadow is still there, waiting to be reclaimed. Jung emphasized that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And part of that is recognizing that the qualities you admire most in others are often the qualities you've disowned in yourself. You don't admire things that are foreign to you. You admire things that are dormant in you, qualities that belong to you, but that you've been too afraid to claim. So if you're constantly drawn to bold, outspoken people, ask yourself, where is my voice? If you idolize people who take risks, ask yourself, where is my courage? If you're obsessed with people who create, ask yourself, where is my creativity? Because the golden shadow is just as unconscious as the dark shadow, and integrating it means stopping the projection, stopping the admiration from a distance, and asking yourself, what if I embodied this? What if I stopped waiting for permission and just became it? This is where real transformation happens, not in rejecting your darkness, but in reclaiming your light. And the moment you do, you stop giving your power away. You stop living through others. You stop waiting for someone else to be what you're too afraid to become. So why does the unacknowledged shadow have so much power? Why does it control you when you're not even aware of it? Because the shadow operates outside your conscious mind. You can't manage what you can't see. You can't regulate what you don't acknowledge. And when something is unconscious, it doesn't follow your rules. It doesn't listen to your logic. It just acts, automatically, compulsively, reactively.